I'll never forget it. I was interviewing for a choreography job and the employer asked me, what style are you best at and what style are you worst at? I don't remember how I answered her. All I remember is this profound desire to say, I do me. I wish I remembered who she was because I'd love to thank her for asking me that question. It started me down a path that changed my life. I always made dances, and when I was younger, I would ask professionals in the field, how do you become a choreographer? And they would always tell me, you just say you do it. And I understood that because I just always did it.
I've been choreographing my whole life. I used to make little dances on my brother and sister at home. As long as I can remember it, probably around 5 years old.
From the moment I remember myself, I was always dancing and always creating. That's what we do. We always move and we're always creating. So when that's become more of a profession for me, I just think I'm doing it on a more sort of focused scale, but not losing the child in me.
I remember as a 5-year-old telling my mom that I wanted to do an improvised performance in the dance recital, and she let me do it. By the time I was 11, I was making all the competition numbers for my dance studio. I've never known a moment of my life where I think I wasn't making a dance.
At its core, making a dance is a deep form of sharing. I want to discover or uncover something deep inside myself and share it with others. That takes a lot of patience and a good deal of faith and courage.
You know, it's pretty ballsy to be a choreographer. I've stepped out on a ledge so many times as a performer. I know what that feels like. To be a choreographer and do it is different because it's from my mind. It's my thoughts, it's my opinions, it's what I want to say. And I think there's a bravery in it.
I didn't often give myself room to call myself a creator. I just knew I liked to put steps together. I liked to put words on paper. I liked to share my opinion, which is a large part of my voice. But those things now I am reconciling as that's me as a creator.
Why I found my way into choreography is because I do really recognize that movement and making stories through movement is the way that I can access a more complex and nuanced conversation around difficult ideas.
No matter how many times I go to make a dance, it's always fraught with lots of big scary questions. You know, what do I want to say? What's my point of view? What's the story? Who's the audience? Who's gonna care? You know, why make this at all? You know, the little things. But I know at the end of the day, if I take the time to answer the big questions, I'll likely succeed at revealing myself in the work.
Every time you're creating a work as a choreographer, you're discovering something new about yourself you didn't know.
Dance as a medium, this is the only way I can express myself.
As a choreographer, as a dance maker, I consider that I have a movement language. I hashtag it as my movement language, something that is a true expression of me and who I am and the experiences and aches and pains that I've had and how I can share and express them.
I was handed my Broadway debut basically overnight. I was still an actor at the time, and I remember certain people hearing the news that I had been hired to choreograph Shrek the Musical and saying, I didn't even know you choreographed. Pretty soon I had worked at Carnegie Hall and Lincoln Center and the Kennedy Center and Off-Broadway and theaters in London. I was getting a lot of work, which was incredible. But I was struggling to find my own voice in all of it.
The business can be so product-oriented, it's easy to lose ourselves as creative artists, to lose sight of why we make dance in the first place.
When you're working inside such a tight schedule, sometimes process and discovery falls by the wayside.
In the past, I've been so gung-ho about just presenting and doing pieces that sometimes I forgot what made me special.
Here I was working so hard to help tell other people's stories, but I couldn't seem to find a way to tell my own. Not only did I have a ton of ideas that were dying on the vine, I couldn't help but think about all the choreographers out there with stories just aching to be told.
I'm researching the historical significance of hierarchies, of those that rule and those that are ruled.
The physicality of loneliness, of isolation.
Gender binaries, how we all have different sexualities, gender identities.
Dance influencing digital technology and digital technology influencing dance.
The Vietnam War and how it affected the African American community in the 60s.
Build a ballet based on Josephine Baker's life in 1939.
Ubiquity and constant progress of digital technologies.
Eleanor Roosevelt's Declaration of
I've been able to
Human
put
Rights.
down my ego and my fears
I
around
wonder
what I
who's
think
making
about.
To
ballet.
use these technologies as creative.
Feel lonely and then that process.
I'm looking for a way to tell that story through
And I think her story should be told through ballet and dance.
Every choreographer has their treasure chest of ideas, but how do they unlock that chest and explore what's inside? Who can they turn to?
I think something that people don't understand about making dance is it is maybe the most physically or like labor-intensive art form, in that if you're a choreographer, sure, you can choreograph a solo on yourself, you can think of all the ideas you want in the world, but until you are working with human beings, with dancers in the room, your vision can't come to life.
The securing of dancers and the figuring out how to do your own prep is a vicious learning curve. I mean, I've choreographed 7 Broadway shows now, and I'm always flailing. I'm always trying to find a studio at the last second and finding dancers at the last second.
There was this double standard that I found pretty tough to swallow. Other creative artists can painstakingly craft their own script or compose their own songs at their own pace in the privacy of their own home for free. But sorry, choreographers, the tools you need to write with, they're too expensive, so you're just gonna have to wait until someone hires you. Oh, and when they do, your work will need to be innovative, transformative, and award-winning. How's that for an uphill climb?
You think this is simple. You get dancers into a room, they make a piece, and maybe present it. That seems pretty simple. But artistically, and in actuality, it is the greatest and most necessary luxury for art to be made.
I didn't know the first thing about starting a nonprofit. All I knew was that dance makers deserved to have a place that was just for them, and a place that would provide them the resources that they need. And I also knew that producers and presenters and collaborators and ultimately audiences would be better for that. What do I call this place? It's a laboratory, it's dance, it's a dance laboratory. It's Dance Lab. The first dance I ever made in the very first lab was called First Try. I was 37 years old, and it was the first time that I had made a dance as a professional choreographer without it being an assignment. It was liberating. Making that one little dance proved to me that the most exciting things happen when I let myself embrace the unknown, when I let myself be surprised, when I truly trusted my instincts. It forever changed the way I make work and the way I collaborate with other artists.
I think when you're making a piece on your own, you're missing a lot of elements. All of the things that you can't plan that actually make a piece worth making, all the mistakes, they get added into this week-long process. Things change and morph, and the dancers bring something new every day. And if I'm making something on my own, I don't get those spontaneous gifts.
Or someone giving you the opportunity to make a mess, the opportunity to do something and it not be what you intended, and the opportunity to create and have it fall flat is still the opportunity to get better.
Maybe a misunderstanding about dance making is that it's not a process. I think as a choreographer, to come in and not know is the terrifying thing about being a choreographer. You have ideas, but you never know until you're in the moment.
I always knew I wasn't alone in all of it. I just didn't know the extent to which I wasn't alone. And every time a choreographer comes into the lab and reclaims a part of their creative spirit or discovers something new about themselves or their work, it brings me right back to first try. And it reminds me that 1 week here can really change someone forever. What started as a small stream of applications soon became this river of diverse artists coming through our doors with the sole purpose of exploration.
Working with Dance Lab New York would allow me to access a breadth of artists whose talent is extraordinarily technical and also extremely raw.
From each choreographer I've seen participate in Dance Lab, I've seen growth and development in their works that follow, and I just wanted the opportunity to be pushed to my next level.
There is literally no other place I would want my first residency to be than Dance Lab New York, a place I consider my dance home.
We were halfway through our spring lab, and I had to deliver the news. I had to tell the dancers and the choreographers that we were sending them home. It was devastating.
It was the week after my birthday that everything shut down.
March, I will never forget it, March 14th, we were put into lockdown in New York.
I had my Broadway debut with Moulin Rouge, and I hadn't stepped on stage to perform yet. I still haven't.
I just felt so drained emotionally, and all of my work comes from an emotional place. Like, that's how I start. Like, how am I gonna be creative? This is insane.
And every week I would get an email, a letter. We are very sorry to inform you. Unfortunately, we won't be able to fully commit to this commission. We won't be able to bring you in for this residency. Every week it just kept adding up to where by the end of April I had nothing.
It was crazy. I felt like it was my ticket, my golden ticket, and it just got like ripped out of my hands.
After I caught my breath, I realized this doesn't change the fact that choreographers need space and dancers. It just changes how we provide it to them. Go back to the basics and give them a new space to test their ideas. Hi, dancers.
Is everybody here? I want to look at all your faces.
What is Zoom room at? What is Zoom room? 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, and then from that transition, like, where do the arms go in space to move you around?
Look for things that might be interesting in the foreground. I know that's so cool. I love that.
And grab your foot and then extend it. Choom, ga, choom, ga. Whereas recognition. 6, 7, 8. Arm, boom.
Na 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 na. Yes, exactly, Yemen. Good. Big dramatic drop.
D, that's it, good. Quick. I like all of that.
I feel like I don't even have a choice to say no to being a choreographer. It's just something that comes with who I am. I need to dance, I need to move, I need to create in order to have that healthy mind, body, and spirit.
When you're working so hard, and as hard as I have been working to build a name for myself as a choreographer, coming from 2008, where my first piece in New York was presented and Rosalind Sulkas from the New York Times declares me as a choreographer to watch, that moment led me to working even harder and harder and harder to really live up to that. So I've had to really fight to have a seat at the table, to have a place, to have a voice, to have people actually take me seriously as a creative artist. And what I found to be even harder was to be a Black male ballet choreographer. In January of 2020, things started to come together. I was getting commissions, and then COVID hit. And with everything being in lockdown, I knew that there were not going to be any new opportunities for me to even go after. It definitely sent me into a deep depression. I cut myself off from the world. The notebook that I usually keep right by me to write down notes and ideas was blank. I was not sure how or if or when I was going to pull myself out of it.
When we first shut down, I was giving class, and then we started working on a piece, and I had sort of given up, but said like, okay, I need to take a break from this. I need to stop trying it, stop forcing this. And that's when, Josh called, which first of all, I was like, who calls people these days? Like, nobody calls anybody. It's an invitation to explore and to feel safe. I actually was just writing about this in regards to education and like how important it is for children to feel safe and to feel respected and to feel seen, and for them to take risks. They need that as the foundation. Well, like, grown-ups do too.
I came down to Atlanta, Georgia because I just needed more space to think. There's a different kind of energy that comes from almost solitude in a way that I've never experienced before, where I was actually able to just slow down a little bit and listen to the universe and the energy around me as to what I wanted to do moving forward. I applied for a dance lab for the Nexus, but everything about it, when I was reading the description, scared the life out of me. I don't know anything about creating and working virtually, and because of that, that made me want to apply even more, because I love trying new things. I love putting myself in situations that I'm not familiar with, just to see how I could react to it and also how I could create from it and what I can learn from it. To my delight, Josh Prince, he actually sent me an email and asked, could we have a meeting? And I was like, oh my God, yes, let's meet.
Right now, I'm living with my parents again. David, my husband, and I have 2 kids, Eva and Max. They're almost 4 and almost 7. When we shut down, we moved here and have been living here for almost a year now. When I first started choreographing, I was really interested and capable of just getting in the studio and generating all this movement. And I remember seeing works that were political or inspired by a poem, and I felt like, well, why aren't I doing something like that? And it didn't feel authentic for me to do that, and so I didn't. And then I had kids. And when I became a mother, this whole range of experiences and emotions came into my life and changed my identity. I not only felt a need to express it with movement, but for it to be part of a larger conversation.
I believe that you need perseverance to get you through the ups and downs of this industry, and faith in yourself, in the energies of the world, that they are working for you, right? They're working for your good. Yeah. I grew up with my grandparents. I feel like our family is a bunch of misfits. So I definitely feel like I'm a misfit as well. I started dancing when I was really young, actually with my grandparents. We were cloggers. They were always along for my journey, and it was a wild one. When I booked my first Broadway show, my grandparents were just like, oh my gosh, Lexer, that's what they call me sometimes. That's amazing. They saw my fight throughout the years of like trying to. And so when it finally happens, they were sharing that joy as much as I was. I had jobs through 2020. I feel blessed in that. Like I got to do dance lab. Asia's lab was offered to me at a time where I wasn't dancing at all. It had been 4 or 5 months since I really moved in that kind of way. I started reclaiming my art. I started doing choreography sessions for myself. I wanted to start speaking again as an artist.
Going into the dance lab, I felt extremely nervous because I was so used to coming into a room, working with dancers, feeding off of live energy, bouncing ideas off of each other. I have an idea of a concept, but I really don't know how this is gonna work. I don't know if it's gonna work.
It's called Echo Steps. The inspiration behind it was Ulysses Dove. He is a major influence on my life as a choreographer. I just wanted to find a way not to make a dedication piece to him, but a piece that celebrates his energy and his contributions to the dance world. that energy is still reverberating, it's still echoing, it's still bouncing into the steps of myself and other choreographers of today. Before I knew it, what started with, in my mind, only 30 seconds of like movement material, then transformed into 9.5 minutes. Good, get that bass wide. Don't be afraid. That's beautiful.
Sometimes when we're artists, we tend to train away certain things, and I found myself training away my imagination and my curiosity for the unknown. Working within the dance lab, tapped into the same feeling I had when I was 12 and 13, just creating in my room.
Hilly Evans-Krueger, I am calling tonight because DLNY would love to offer you our next Nexus Lab.
Oh my gosh. Last year, on my birthday, everything was shutting down. This year, I spent my birthday week choreographing. That's literally all I did. I choreographed and didn't really sleep, just kept thinking about movement and my beautiful dancers and how incredible they are and how many different colors they have to offer when it comes to the process. Dance obviously has led me to this moment, but it's like not just dance. Like, what do I want to say as an artist? Have you ever had your heart broken? And what was the visceral feeling of that?
Like boulders, you know?
It felt very intimate and safe right from the get-go. Let's go eyebrows up, 2, from the top. Nice. Dash, 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 dash. I love you guys.
So going into it, I was really nervous about the capability of making a dance. What could I make? How could I possibly make something in this way?
Bigger, and the next 8 counts make it bigger, 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 I'm curious about your experiences with leadership.
Leadership should be more about thinking about the greater good of all people and the unity of all people.
Paul and Eugene were just ready. Subconsciously, I feel like, well, in order to know my movement and to feel my movement, you have to have had my experiences, especially now that the work and my identity is so around being a mom, but you really don't, and they really proved that to me. I'm exploring emotions based on experiences that are mine, but the emotions are universal. That's the beauty of it.
Look at those feet, Larissa. Whoa. Ooh, okay, that's interesting. Oh yeah, oh my.
I don't know if one of the dancers suggested like using multiple camera angles. I have more than one device. I have my computer and I have my phone. Oh, and I have an iPad. Well, that changes everything. I never would have thought of that before. I actually took the piece and transposed it onto my dancers, and there were 9 dancers as opposed to 4, each having 2 devices. I've been really successful in creating work post the lab. I think it just gave me some tools, and it gave me the confidence and inspiration to keep going, to lean into it.
I think my biggest fear as a choreographer is that my voice isn't valid. I say that to myself, yes, what if it's not good enough? What if it's not unique enough? But it's just like, that's never the case. It's never the case for any of us.
I'm hopeful that some of the pieces that are like directly about motherhood and telling the stories that aren't so refined allow other people to say, it's okay to feel that way. This is normal. And I just happen to be telling that story through movement.
I am Black, resilient, and resourceful. You may go through these ups and these downs can be really down, but there's light at the end. And I've kept that belief in myself, and it just feels great to be at a place again where I'm excited about the future.
Being a part of Dance Lab for the past couple of years has opened up my world in New York. It has been truly important for my growth as a person and as a dancer and as a choreographer.
Building and sustaining a nonprofit dance organization in New York City requires an almost daily leap of faith, but the rewards for those risks are immeasurable.
It feels really good to have this kind of support behind me. Having been brought into the Dance Lab fold has helped my confidence.
I didn't understand that this was for nothing but me. Like that it was an honoring of someone who's a creator.
I'm discovering myself in a new way, and I mean, it's just a beautiful thing.
Every choreographer dreams of having a place to play and just experiment, where we can go and train to be risk takers.
To be invited into this cohort for me was just wonderful, a feeling that I'm also part of the community. For the door to open and to be seen and acknowledged. It was very empowering.
The community is so amazing that they keep me in the loop. They want to continue to help me and support me as a choreographer. That means the world to me.
It is a place where I have felt welcomed and, quite honestly, as a family member. I feel here that my diversity is accepted and encouraged.
It's really important that other people see you and want to see your story and want to see you grow.
It was emotional, it was impactful, and something I'll never forget.
Making dance is my happiest place. It just lights up my life when I get to walk into a room, meet new dancers, work with them, create something out of nothing, and have the world see it.
As artists, as choreographers, as dancers, we matter. We contribute to the world. We bring about change. We bring about awareness. We are important.
I never could have imagined how Dance Lab would change my life, or how it would connect me to my fellow dance makers in such a profound way. My hope is that whenever people see dance, they stop for just a moment to consider the person who made it.
I'm inspired by people who are thinking outside of the box to change the world. I'm looking to do that as a choreographer.
I'm feeling more capable than ever, much more confident, and really hopeful.
I hope that my future really unfolds and shows the world that this is John Malik, this is a choreographer, and this is his voice, and this is his story.